In this video, we're going to have a look at how to implement the JavaScript demo project 6, which involves the building of a stopwatch. And this stopwatch should count the seconds, minutes, and hours. And it should have all of these features. Basically, a start button to start the stopwatch, a stop button to stop the stopwatch, and a reset button to reset the stopwatch to 0. And the reset button should disappear after the stopwatch is set to 0. And stop should only exist after the stopwatch is started. And start button disappears after the stopwatch is started. And also we need to have custom styling for the stopwatch. So now let's have a look at how to do this. So first I'm going to go to the JavaScript folder and I'm going to create a new folder called JS Demo Project 6. And I'm going to open it in VS Code. And here I'm going to create a new file called index.html. And here I'm going to first create the template for the HTML file. And I'm going to create the body of the file as well. And I'll also add a script tag. Now for this particular project, we are going to use a combination of HTML elements that are hard coded inside the body tag, and we're going to use JavaScript to manipulate those elements. So first let's create the overall layout. I'm going to create a p tag, and inside that I'm going to create a span with the ID hours, and I'm going to add another span called minutes and another seconds, and I'm going to give these an initial value of 0, 0 and 0. And inside of the script tag I'm going to create certain variables to store those values. I'm going to store hours equals 0, var minutes equals 0, var seconds equals 0. Now let's go ahead and have a look at the file and see what it looks like in the browser. So you can see that we have the hour, minute and seconds like this, and with the initial value of 0. Now let's create the window.onload statement, and inside that we're going to get these elements and store them inside of variables. So I'm going to say var hours equals document.getElement by ID hours, var minutes equals document get element by ID minutes, and var seconds equals document.get element by ID seconds. And now we're going to create a method called setInterval. And inside the setInterval method, we're going to pass in two arguments. So one is a function, which is basically a function that gets executed by the setInterval method periodically. And the second argument that we're going to pass to the setInterval defines the duration of that period. So now we're going to pass in 1000 here. So 1000 is basically 1000 milliseconds, which equals 1 second. So every 1000 milliseconds, this function will get executed by the setInterval method. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to update the value of the seconds by 1. So I made a small mistake here. You can see that I've actually declared seconds in two places. So I'm just going to change this to S and M and H. So now here I'm going to update the value of seconds by 1 every 1000 milliseconds. So that seconds plus equals 1. So now let's, one more thing I need to do is I need to say s.inner text equals seconds. So now let's switch and then have a look at what this does. So you can see that every second it is actually updating the value of the seconds by 1. Now what we also need to do is when the seconds value reaches 60, we need to set it to 0 again and then update the minutes by 1. So you can see here that right now it will overflow. It will go to 60 and then go to 61, 62. That's not something that we want. So when it goes to 60, we need to reset it to 0 and then update the minutes by 1. And similarly, when the minutes overflow over 60, we need to reset it to 0 and then update the hours. So what we can do for that is, we can say if seconds equal to 60, you can say seconds equal to 0 and then minutes plus equals 1, and we can say m dot inner text equals minutes. Okay, and similarly also say if minutes equal to 60, we'll say minutes equal to 0, hours plus equals 1, and h dot inner text equals hours. So you can see here that it's overflowing right now. So now when we refresh it, it's going to go to 60. Actually, in order to test this, let's speed this up a little bit. So you can see that it's increasing at a really fast pace. It's basically like speeding up the entire clock. So what should be 18 minutes is happening within 18 seconds or less. So now when it reaches 60, we should expect it to increase the hours by 1 and they should be reset to 0. Okay, so it's working properly. Oh, actually we need to set the seconds to 0 as well here. Similarly, we'll need to set the minutes also here. So now this should work properly. Anyway, so now we have the feature implemented. So now it should run the stopwatch properly. The next thing we need to do is create a start button and the stop button and the reset button. So I'm going to declare these variables here. So var start equals document.create element of the button tag name, and var stop equals document.create element of the tag name button, and then similarly for reset document.create element of the tag name button. Let's actually put this in a div with the ID stopwatch. And I'm going to grab that stopwatch document.get element by ID stopwatch, and here I'm going to add the start button to the stopwatch element. Stopwatch dot append child start, and I'm also going to add an event listener. So start dot add event listener of the event click, and in the function I'm going to move all of this stuff. So this set interval is basically the thing that runs the entire stopwatch. So I'm going to move all of that inside the start button, and the moment we click start, we should also show the stop buttons. So stopwatch dot append child stop, and let's leave it at there. So now when we refresh it, it's showing this. So we need to add a label to the start and stop and reset buttons. So start.inner text equals start, and stop.inner text equals stop, and reset.inner text equals reset. Let's actually make this stop button. Similarly, Okay, so now let's have a look at it now. So when we click start, nothing happens. Let's see the error. Okay, we need to change this to stop button. So when we click start, it not only starts the timer, but also it adds the stop button. And when we click on stop, it should stop the timer at that particular time and then show us the reset button also. So what we need to do is we need to add another event listener to the stop button dot add event listener of the type click function. So here we need to stop this set interval thing. So for that, what we need to do is we need to actually store the set interval value inside of a certain variable. And here, in order to stop this, we're going to use the method clear interval, and we're going to pass in the name of the interval. And it's actually best to move this inside of this particular method so that everything is in one place. So I'm going to save this. So now let's refresh this and then click on start. And when we stop it, it should freeze at that particular point. Okay, and we should also add in the reset button here, stopwatch.append child reset button, and we need to also add the event listener for the reset button. So reset button dot add event listener of the event click function, and here we should just say s dot inner text equals 0, m dot inner text equals 0, and h dot inner text equals 0. And remember that we should only show the reset button when the interval is stopped. So again, when we start the thing, we should remove this, but let's have a look at what it looks like at the moment. So we click on start and then we click on stop. Now, if we click on start again, it should resume that thing. Let's see if that does it. And it does work. So stop. And when I click on reset, it should go back to 0. And after I click on reset, it should actually remove this button. So let's do that. Reset button dot remove. And whenever I click on the start button, it should automatically get removed because you cannot start a stopwatch when it's already running. So start button dot remove. It's when I stop the thing that should append the reset button. And whenever I click on reset, it should automatically remove that. And it should show the start button. So stopwatch dot append child start stop reset, and now we should also remove the stop when reset is pressed. So start, stop, and we should also remove the stop button when stop is pressed. So start, stop, reset, start, stop, reset. So whenever we press stop, it should actually show us the start button. Stopwatch dot append child start button. So start, stop, start again. Okay, so when we click on start, it should remove the start button and also remove the reset button. Okay, let's see. Start, stop, reset, start, stop, start, stop. Okay, now everything is working perfectly. Let's check the requirements one more time. A start button to start the stopwatch, a stop button to stop the stopwatch, a reset button to reset the watch to 0. Reset button disappears after the stopwatch is set to 0. That it works. And stop button only exists after the stopwatch is started. Actually, this should be stopwatch is running. So stop button only exists while the stopwatch is running, and start button disappears after the stopwatch is started. Okay, so all these conditions are now met. So this part is completely taken care of. Our stopwatch is actually fully functional now. And everything is working properly. Now we can actually go ahead and remove the thing that we did here. Instead of 10, it should be actually 1000. That way it will be actually realistic in terms of time. So here we have 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Okay, so this is the functionality that we need. So that is done. Now let's go ahead and work on the styling aspect. So we're also supposed to give it a custom styling. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to first move all of this code into a separate file. I'm going to say src equals js.script.js, and I'm going to create this file inside js script.js and save all of that code in here. Now let's just check for once if everything is working properly. Yeah, it all works. Now let's also add a link tag for the CSS. Rel equals style sheet href equals css.style.css, and I'm going to add a new folder here for CSS style.css. I'm going to say body is background red, just to check if the styles are getting imported. Okay, it's working. So I'm going to actually make the body a kind of light gray, RGBA 0.3. Okay, so that is the thing. And now for the stopwatch, we're going to make it a block, and margin left is auto, margin right is auto. We're going to give it a fixed width of 300 pixels and also the font size of 2em. And I'm also going to give it a background of a darker color of gray, so 0.6. And inside here we're going to also say text align center, and also give it a padding of 20 pixels. Pixels. I'm also going to give it a margin top of 100 pixels, and I'm going to make the font color white, and I'm going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels. And also we're going to give it a little bit of space around these things. And one more thing is we're going to give it something like this. This looks much better now. Let's also customize these start and stop buttons. And here I'm going to give it a border radius of 5 pixels and font size of 2em, (1.2em), and also I want to add a padding of 5 pixels at the top, and then on the left and right I want to have 10 pixels. So this notation is basically a way to add different paddings for the same element on different sides. So the first one is the top, and second one is the right side, and the third one is again the top, and then fourth one is the bottom. So instead of 10 pixels, let's actually give it 20 pixels to the left and right. I'm sorry, this is top, right, bottom, and left. Okay, so that widened the thing a little bit. Let's actually reduce this to 2 pixels. Okay, so that's a much better looking button. We can also say 1.1 em instead of 1.2 em. And one more thing that we can do is to give different background colors to the buttons. So start can be green. So we can say start button.style.background equals green, and similarly stop button.style.background equals red, and this one can be orange. So let's save that and refresh it. Now we can get a okay, so that looks better, but let's also say cursor equals pointer, so that when we hover over the buttons it looks like this. Okay, that's much better, but I want to have a different shade of green. You can actually Google for material colors for green, and it should give you various shades of green. So here you can choose a particular shade of green, and we have the hex value here, and you can just say I want that particular green on my start button, and also I want a particular shade of red on the stop button, and I want a particular shade of orange on my reset button. So let's try that out. Okay, this is much better now. Now the only other thing that I would like to do here is, you see how there's 0 0. I want it to be 2 digits, regardless of whether it's showing less than 10 or over 10. I want it to be 2 digits so that it doesn't shift around like this. So for that, we're going to create a separate method called sanitize numbers. So this is a function, and I'm going to pass in a number. So what this function will do is take this input value, and it should return the number as it is if it is greater than 10. But if it is less than 10, it should make it have a 0 in front of it. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to return num less than or equal to 9. It's going to say 0 plus num dot to string. If not, it's going to return the num. So this is a very strange looking statement. What I'm actually doing is just a ternary operator. We've seen ternary operators where we're passing in a certain condition, and if this condition is true, then we execute this part, that is between the question mark and the colon. If this is false, then we execute this statement. So depending on whether this condition is true or not, we're going to execute this or this respectively. So what this will do is, whenever we are updating the seconds or minutes on the screen, it's going to give us this. Okay, so let's see if this actually does anything. Okay, it doesn't work on the seconds. Maybe missed something. So we missed this part. Okay, so now it works. Let's actually speed it up this time and see how it works. So now it actually works out. See, it's updating the numbers and showing you a 0 in front of numbers that are less than 10. Okay, it works out. So okay, this is not good. We have to actually fix this. So here, when it's setting to 0, we can just do it like this, and that should fix it. Okay, everything is done. Our stopwatch is working great. So the only thing that I want to do now is I want to add a heading to this page. So what I'll do is I'll go here, then h2 is stopwatch. This should ideally be on the top here, and I want it to be right above this box. So I'll just add a h2, text align is center, margin top is 100 pixels, and we can actually remove it from here. That should give us a good looking heading for the page. And let's actually make this a h1 instead of h2, and font size is 1.2 EM, and let's change the tag from h2 to h1. Say 2.2 EM. Okay, everything is working. So I hope you learned how to implement a stopwatch. In case you found something confusing, please rewatch the video. And if rewatching also doesn't help, please post a comment down below in the comment section and I'll respond to you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.